Hello everyone, XV here from youtube.com/xvroguegaming, back with another guide for Dota Cinema. This week's episode is about the random number generation of Dota 2. This version is designed for introductory learning. If you're not a new player, click the link above to watch the advanced version instead. Chance is an important part of any game, and Dota 2 is no different. How Dota calculates chance, however, isn't as straightforward as you might think. At its core, anything with a random element includes a roll, where a number is generated and compared to a listed chance to see if it triggers or occurs. For example, let's look at Chaos Knight's Chaos Strike. It has a 10% chance to cause his attack to crit. We might also refer to this as a 1 in 10 chance. The reality is, though, that it would only ever be 1 in 10 attacks if calculated using a pool of attacks approaching infinity. If the game used true random distribution, every time Chaos Knight attacked, the game would select a random integer between 1 and 100. If the result was between 1 and 10, then the engine would cause the attack to trigger Chaos Strike. This is the truest version of random chance, but it is not without its drawbacks. For example, there is nothing that prevents you from critting a target 10 times in a row, or conversely, a complete lack of crits for an entire match. While very unlikely, either event could happen. And the reality is that we as players are human and will remember these successes and failures far more readily than matches where roughly 1 in 10 hits crit. This is where pseudo-random chance comes into play. Instead of having a 10% chance to crit, Chaos Knight actually begins with only a 1.475% chance. This percentage then increases by the same amount on each consecutive attack that fails to crit until the chance exceeds 100%. Conversely, after successfully critting, whether on the first hit or the 67th in this case, the counter is reset. This means that abilities and items that work with a random chance will occur with a much more consistent probability, drastically reducing streaks, whether they be good or bad, thereby making the game much less luck dependent and widely accepted as more competitive. This is Chaos Knight's probability of success plotted across 67 attacks. Note that this isn't just the raw chance to proc, it is a probability of result taking into account that none of the previous attacks had crit. Unlike TRD, which would have each attack maintaining an individual chance for success, using PRD, the probability of success becomes bell-curved. This can seem counterintuitive because we originally stated that the chance for success becomes higher the more consecutive failures, but it is in fact due to this scaling chance for success that you pass a point where it is actually more likely to succeed than fail, and therefore becomes less likely that you would go this long without seeing a proc, and the graph reflects this. As we see here, the chance for success rises with the attacks at first, but will peak and then decline. This reduced probability to crit is because, as mentioned, one should have already occurred. Thus, the chance of getting a crit in quick succession or going an extremely large number of attacks without one is greatly diminished, and the majority of our crits will be in the center, or average number of attacks. Let's compare 10% to 15. As we can see, the size of the curve is based on your percentage chance for success. The higher your percentage, the more narrow your cycle will be, with occurrences happening more frequently, as would be expected since it has a higher listed chance. The same pattern is demonstrated by 25%. Currently, the following skills and items use PRD in Dota 2. It's worth noting that not all chance-based effects use it, however. For example, Cranium Basher and Greater Bash, while both chances to stun, still use true random distribution. Essentially, PRD balances out many chance-based abilities to prevent too many or too few activations in a realistic period of time. It also means that heroes with bash effects like Slardar and Faceless Void can benefit more from attack speed items than they would normally, as they are less likely to consecutively bash their targets, overlapping their own stun and wasting the effect. So, while there is more to be said about PRD, I hope you found this video useful for taking your game to the next level and understanding the mechanics that drive it. If you want to dig deeper, click the link above for the advanced version. As always, if you like this video, please thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to Dota Cinema and my channel to stay up to date. Until next week, this is XV, signing out.